Dead no more. Patient Zer0 Chapter 12 T keeps a promise. I looked at my team and said, let's go home. How fucking touchin', came a voice from outside. Ya asshole, you killed ma daddy and now you gonna pay. Gonna take dem women and then gonna kill ya. Then waddled in a younger version of that penguin fellow we had a run-in with. Next walked in the 3 men that were with the first penguin with guns drawn. Day tall, me how ya killed him. How ya shot him in da head, he said. I should shoot ya in ya fucking head. Ma name is Olivier Tidwiller Thomas Edwin Rogers too. But you can call me Otter too. I thought we had an understanding, I said looking at the 3 men. Fuck you, one of them screamed. It's different now that we got the guns. In walked in another 3 men with guns drawn. Shit just keep getting worser for ya, laughed Otter. How about some excitement, he said as he shot Corbin in the stomach. How long before he turns and eats one of y'all? Those that had them removed their hoods and the ladies with the exception of Ellen screamed. Jason moved toward Corbin. Said Otter. Now fellas, load dem women and watch the assholes. If one of em moves, shoot his ass. They gathered and carried Ellen and forced Naomi and Marie with them outside, led by Otter. You touch them and I will kill you, yelled T, I'm coming for you baby. Look, now that he's gone, let me treat this man. I'm a doctor, I said desperately. Fuck him and fuck you too, sneered one of the 4 remaining men. I looked at T, Andre and Joshua. The men were circling and placing the guns against our heads. Who's gonna be next? Asked one of the men. As he pressed his gun against T's temple, T grabbed the barrel and swept his leg. As the man fell, he was impaled on an exposed pipe. You fucking killed Kenny, screamed one of the men as he ran towards T only to be tripped by Joshua as Ernesti caught him and broke his neck. At the same time Andre and I dispatched the other 2 as Andre cleaved the head clean off of his assailant. I however hit mine in the throat with the sheath of my sword. As I grabbed him by the hair, I whispered, the only reason you are alive and not dead like your friends is because you are going to tell us where that fat fuck took those women. He gasped and grabbed for his throat with one hand and his weapon with the other. I pushed my thumb into his Adam's apple and he gagged. Andre, get the info out of him by any means necessary, I said as I kicked his weapon to T. Andre smiled, this is going to be fun. I joined Jason with Corbin. His breathing was erratic. Apply pressure to the wound, I shouted, but it was too late. Corbin was slipping away fast. T, get one of those box trucks and pull around front, I yelled. Where are we with that info, Andre? They're at a funeral home not too far from the hospital, said Andre. The one with the crematorium? I asked. Damn, that's the same one we cremated my stepfather, I thought to myself. Jason, Corbin is going to turn unless we do something about it, I said. Jason pulled out his knife and plunged it into the base of Corbin's skull. Let's go get the rest of those fuckers, grimaced Jason. When T pulled up in front, we loaded the impaled guy and the one with the broken neck in the back with their friend with the bruised trachea. For the first 10 minutes there was silence, then he screamed for about 5 minutes and then 10 minutes later he turned. T, Joshua and I drove in the truck while the rest took the vehicles we had arrived in. We headed to the funeral home. We stopped the other vehicles a mile away from the hospital as Andre, Ricky and Robert led the others through the woods. T, Joshua and I drove the truck right up to the dock of the funeral home. The assholes didn't even check, they just opened the truck and the 3 freshly made DCs jumped out on them. We left the new DCs to their meal as we rushed inside. The plan was for Ricky, Robert and Andre to split into 3 groups and attack the funeral home, during the commotion caused by the DCs who we put inside. We found Otter in the main parlor sitting on top of a makeshift throne made out of coffins. The girls were there and were dressed like slave girls from that Star Battle movie. Bitch 1, bitch 2, how long before my main bitch is awake? I have needs, screamed Otter. You're going to pay for this, screamed Marie. Ooh, I love a bitch with a mouth. Ya know how to use it? Asked Otter. T, Joshua and I devised a plan to separate Otter from the women. It was painfully noticeable that T was insane with rage. Even though we had a plan, T walked right in, shoved his pistol right into Otter's throat and emptied the clip. Told ya I was gonna kill ya, sneered T. Naomi jumped in his arms and wrapped her legs around his waist. Marie collapsed. It was evident that she had been raped by Otter. Hey, get me the fuck out of here, yelled a voice from inside one of the coffins as he pounded from the inside. Joshua and I attended to the coffin while T and Naomi attended to Marie. Once Marie was on her feet, Joshua and T searched for Ellen. I opened the coffin, and out stepped a large man. "Da fuck going on round here," he said. "Where's that little fat fuck? I'm gonna kick his ass." "Whoa shit. Looks like somebody beat me to it. Fucked him up good too." "Who are you and why were you locked in that coffin?" I asked. "My name is Brian Howard. Me and my girl ducked in here thinking we could escape those dead fucks and we ran into his pathetic ass. We were on the road from Michigan and thought any port in a storm. He was all nice at first and shit. He gave us something to eat and I woke up in that damned coffin. His ass drugged us," he said as he kicked his lifeless body. "Where is my girl? Honey. We haven't seen anyone else, I'm sorry to say. We were just about to search the place for our other friend," I said. "We searched the other parlors and found Ellen still unconscious. We went down to the crematorium and there was a reanimated head with no teeth that sat about crotch high. That sick fuck. Baby, how could he do this to you?" wailed Brian. No, he yelled as the head hissed and moaned at him. Andre handed him a knife. "If you are unable to go through with it, I'll do it for you," said Andre. "You have to destroy the brain." "No, this is my fault and my responsibility. I couldn't protect her. I have to do better," said Brian. I looked at Joshua. What kind of toll is this taking on him? I wondered if he fully understood the sexual depravity that took place here. Brian plunged the knife hilt deep into the reanimated head. He lovingly caressed the head and quietly spoke a few gentle words. We made our way back to the vehicles. "We have a camp and you're welcome to join us," I said to Brian. "You just have to abide by a few rules." "What kind of rules?" he asked. "Our location must remain unknown to you for your first 3 months. You will train hard, in hand-to-hand and in firearms. We have a divergent community and you may want to pick up some additional skills from one of the others," I said. "To keep our community safe and secret, all new members are blindfolded upon entry and exit for their first 3 months. If you're offering safety and a hot meal, you can blindfold me and spank my ass," laughed Brian nervously. You could tell he was upset by the events that unfolded. "That won't be necessary," I laughed. We got in the cars and bagged everyone and went back to the bunker. The new group was happy and devastated at the same time. They felt a little safer, but had to process the incredible loss. T and Naomi made a beeline to T's room and we didn't see or hear from them for the rest of the night. "Joshua, can I speak to you for a moment?" I asked. "Yes, sensei," he responded. "Look, I know you are being tasked with growing up awfully fast. But I want you to know how proud I am of you and how you are taking everything in stride," I said. "You impress me a little more every day." "Thank you, sensei," he said. "I like to think, if M and I had a kid, he would be a lot like you," I said. M was waiting in my room when I got there. "Ready for our workout," she said as she untied her shirt. "Oh, so you want me to drill you, huh?" I asked coyly. "Are you up to the task?" she asked as she smiled. We kissed and our hands roamed. M wanted this as much as I did. She pushed me back onto the bed and straddled me. "Now good doctor, I'm ready for my examination," she said as she removed her shirt. Our tongues wrestled for dominance in each other's mouths. She licked my lips and as she positioned herself in a better straddling position. This is what we both wanted, and it was well past time that we got it. When I awoke the next morning, she laid there sleeping softly on my chest. Her hair was mussed and her breathing was synced with mine. As I wrapped my arms around her, she woke up and smiled at me as she raised her head. "Can we just lay here forever?" she asked. "Last night was extraordinary. I don't think a man has ever made me feel that way before." "The feeling is mutual," I said. "And you don't know how much I wish we could just lie here all day. But I promised Joshua that I'd take him out for some scouting practice." "You're taking a real shine to him, aren't you?" she asked. "He's like the son I've never had," I said. We got dressed and made our way to the cafeteria for breakfast. T and Naomi were there feeding each other. I'm glad he found someone. Ma was there talking to Marie, Jason and Ellen. Marie and Ellen were commiserating with one another. Rodriguez was holding court with Henry and Brian. He was explaining the importance of cardio for a big man. Gerald, Leon, Andre, Dee, Aisha, Regina, Ricky and Robert were debating which was better, pancakes or waffles. Fred, Tim and Vaughn were combing over some very peculiar devices. Jamie, Joshua and Ronnie were sitting at a table picking at their breakfast. Ernesti stood alone in the corner as usual with a sullen look about him. "What's going on here?" I asked Joshua. He looked up at me with the saddest eyes and then looked at Jamie. Could you keep Jamie and Ronnie company? I need to speak with Joshua," I asked. "Sure, no problem, handsome," she said. Joshua got up from the table and again looked at Jamie before we walked away. So, woman problems? I asked. How did you know? He asked. I've been around a while. I know the signs, I said. So what's up with you and Jamie? She's afraid that something is going to happen to me, he said. She says that God has a plan and everything dies. But, according to her, it seems that those she loves seem to die a little more frequently. What about Ronnie? He's still alive, I said. I know, and she worries daily about him too, he said. Why don't you take them under your wing and help them with their training? I asked. You sure have a lot of confidence in my abilities, he said. That I do, my boy, that I do, I said. Get to know both of them and allow them to know you. He walked back over to Jamie and Ronnie as Em walked over to me. She's pushing Joshua away because she is afraid she is going to lose him, said Em. I told her love is not promised. If we're lucky, we find it and it us. And when we do, we should embrace it and hold on tightly to it. I told him to take an interest in their training. To truly get to know them and develop a real relationship, I said. Oh, the old training trick you used on me, she laughed as she put her arms around my neck. I thought you used it on me, I laughed. As breakfast came to a close, I asked Joshua to meet me at the east exit. We were going to check out a National Guard armory to see if there was anything worth retrieving. While I waited, I was approached by Tim, Fred and Vaughn. Doc, where did you find this guy? Asked Fred. Yeah, he's a tech genius, said Tim. I wouldn't say that, said Vaughn. I just see a need and try and figure out a way to fulfill it. Well, you hit a home run with this one, said Fred. Okay, wow me, I said. Well, we know that the DCs follow sound for some unknown reason, said Vaughn. Well, I decided to place some explosive and fragmentation materials on a wind-up alarm clock. When the alarm goes off, it attracts the DCs and after a minute or two, boom. Boom, I queried. Boom, Vaughn reassured. The warehouse had plenty of clocks and we can begin to make them. They should really come in handy with hordes. How long will it take you to make these, Vaughn bombs? I asked. Wow, that's a cool name, thanks. We should have a few grosses in about a week with help, he said. But you can keep those half dozens. What's going on? Asked Joshua. Coming up with new and better ways to combat the dead, I said. Are you ready to go? Yes, sir, he said. Okay guys, you have my full support. Get with Rodriguez and Gerald to get the parts needed, I said. We'll talk later when I return. Joshua and I set out in one of the hybrid vehicles. The ground was slick with fresh snow. I explained to him to always hide the vehicle far enough away from the target to ensure that you are not seen. To drive around to ensure that your tracks cannot be traced to your base. I also let him drive to get him familiar with vehicles. I wanted him to be ever vigilante while traveling, to ensure that he is not being followed or watched. He absorbed the knowledge like a sponge. Doc, I want to say thanks, he said. No problem. We all should learn this stuff, I said. Oh, not for this, he said. But for the advice you gave me earlier. I'm going to assist Master Andre with Jamie and Ronnie's combat training. Diane is going to train Jamie as a medical assistant and Fred is going to train Ronnie to be a mechanic. It seems everyone is training for a job, but me. I paused and I looked at him. Joshua, I know I could never take the place of your parents, but how would you feel if I began to look at you as if you were my son? And groom you for leadership of the bunker? He just sat there in stunned silence at first. Doc, Marvin, you've been more of a father to me in the short time that I've known you than my biological father ever has, he said. I'd be thrilled to be your son. We pushed on, chatting about this and that. I told him I could teach him about medicine as well to give him yet another thing in common with Jamie. As we approached the armory, we noticed that the yard had about 20 DCs roaming in it. Are we going to clear the yard? Asked Joshua. Never expend energy if you can avoid it. Let's look for an easier way, I said. We circled around to the side and saw that there was an open window. I'll boost you up and I want you to look inside and see if there is any movement, I said. Some of the areas are dark, but it doesn't seem to be any movement, he said. Okay, sit on the windowsill and we'll go in together, I said. We quietly jumped to the floor. There were 6 DCs roaming the halls of the armory. We systematically dispatched them and began searching the armory. This was an untapped goldmine. I figured we could clear out the armory moving the bigger equipment to Ernesti's meatpacking plant. We could outfit it with some watchtowers and reinforced fences. I was also thinking of setting up some checkpoints between the bunker and the plant. And now that I look at this armory, this might be another location that we can settle. Doc, can I ask you a personal question? Asked Joshua. Sure, anything, I responded. How do you know if you're ready for sex? He asked awkwardly. Wow, I wasn't expecting that, I said. Well Joshua, I could give you some clinical answer, but I'll tell you what my mom told me, you'll just know. You'll have so much love for the other person that you'll want to share it with them. But the other person will have to arrive that decision in their own time. Our conversation was interrupted by a discovery. Riot gear. Lots and lots of body armor, flak jackets, boots, helmets. Stun guns, tear gas, beanbag guns, and lots of other equipment. We hit the jackpot. From now on, all of the raiders will be outfitted with this gear, I said. We pushed on and continued to survey the armory. We found a cache of MREs, medkits, iodine tablets, and canteens. We found the motor pool, they had 2 freaking tanks, an armored personnel vehicle and a riot vehicle. There was a barracks and a mess hall. It was a perfect place to dig in and train. Joshua, as it pertains to what we were discussing earlier, I said. Whatever you decide, make sure you protect yourself and your partner. Make sure there is love between you two. I will Doc. I will, he said. We finally came across the whole reason we came here in the first place, the weapons cache. Joshua, how is your weapons training coming? I asked. Well, I'm better with a rifle than I am with a pistol, he said. This place was perfect and even had its own shooting range. Yes, we will definitely expand this as our 3rd location. Joshua and I finished up cataloging the armory and headed back to the bunker. I laid out my plans to the council for a vote. It seems that at first our group was outgrowing our real estate. Now our real estate is outgrowing the group. We decided to spread the resources at our disposal to the various locations. This way we would have redundancy and decent stores. After the meeting, I found Vaughn, Fred and Tim. Look at what I found at the armory, I said as I pulled out a few of the stun guns. Is it possible to affix one of these to my sword? An electrified Hanzo? Asked Vaughn. That's ingenious. Give me some time and I'll see what I can come up with. We also want you guys, the council that is, to do a walkthrough through the armory, I said. We want to configure the armory, the plant and the bunker as 3 corners of a triangle city-state. We're not here just to survive, but to build lives for ourselves. Some of us have found love and a sense of family. Some of us have found hope. All of us have found survival. We need more people to expand our community. This is a dangerous proposition as we have to be careful who we allow into our midst. I hope the council agrees. The next day, I called an emergency meeting. I want to thank you all for agreeing to meet on such short notice, I said. I won't mince words, we need to grow. Now, I think we need to set about the task of searching for survivors and not just happening upon them. Gerald, you, Leon and Andre can determine if the raiders can be expanded with those who are now off of probation. It will only be a matter of time before the armory or the plant is attacked and taken. We have to shore up the defenses and populate them. Now that we've outfitted the raiders with walkie-talkies, communication has improved. I think if we create squads within the raiders, we can better utilize their abilities, said Leon. We can assign squad leaders, fire team leaders and hopefully grow that into a platoon. We need an army to combat not only the dead, but the living that disagrees with our rights to survive. I think we have the squad leaders now, I said. Gerald should definitely be the platoon leader and should have the most input as to who leads his squads. I also assume that it will be up to the squad leaders to ensure that the members of his or her squad are trained to his or her specifications. But what is the endgame we are trying to accomplish here? Asked Diane. I mean, are we building a society or an army? We have more weapons than we can use and more space than we need. I think if we began to build an army, we'll begin to display aggressive behaviors and our little utopia will cease. I think what Marv is saying is that there are people out there who don't have it as good as we do, and we can offer them a purpose and a home, said T. I won't pretend to understand what it is like out there on the road. I thank God every night for what Marv has afforded me. Now let's afford it to some people who desperately need it, and are willing to work for it. But we still come back to the same issue, who wants the other locations? I mean everyone is pretty comfortable here and I doubt anyone wants to leave, said Fred. Who do we banish to the plant and the armory? We don't have to look at it as banishment. As a matter of fact, I think it would behoove us if members of the council elected to rotate to the various locations from time to time, I said. That way we can govern from an eye level. Live among those that we will make rules for. We can also understand if the rules levied in one location needs to necessarily be enforced in another. Both the plant and the armory are structurally sound and could repel an invasion if properly staffed, said Tim. Vaughn, Fred and I have come up with some cool ideas on how to protect each. I think we'll need some input from one of you military types to ensure that our ideas will provide a tactical advantage. So, we're really going to do this? Asked Gerald. I know the doc, Leon and I have military backgrounds, but does anyone else? Will we utilize the code of military justice? I think there are both positives and negatives to what this will entail. But to tell you the truth, the whole concept excites me. So do we bring it to a vote? I asked. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, 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 nay. The ayes have it, I said. The motion has been carried. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add? Well, began Fred. Vaughn, Tim and I have been working hard to create devices that will help bolster our survival. I'd also like to take this opportunity to call Vaughn into the meeting. Vaughn walked in with a case under his arm. He walked up to the head of the table near me and nodded at Fred and Tim. I'd like to present our esteemed leader with his brand new electrified Hanzo sword, said Vaughn. Vaughn unsheathed my sword that now had a stun gun built into the hilt. He flicked a switch and the blade became electrified as it crackled and zapped. It hummed with power. You could see the blue energy arcing off of it. Is it odd to admit that this thing aroused the geek in me? Wow, I exclaimed. You guys did an outstanding job. Thank you so much. Now let's get busy and start saving people.